my post graduation and his graduation on the same
Yes.
college.
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. Next we have Rishabh. Hi Rishabh.
Hey guys, so a lot of people would know me. I'm Rishabh. I've been coding from around, I guess, 9 years by this point, and yeah, I work on a lot of technologies like PHP, React, Node.js. These days, I'm focusing on JavaScript stack, so entire React, Node.js, Angular, Vue. Uh, with React, I'm working from like 2 or 3 years, maybe more. Honestly, can't remember. And yeah, Angular. I haven't ever worked with Angular 1 or Angular JS to be specific, but from Angular onwards, version 2 onwards, I've been working with almost every version here and there, just keeping up with the technology, not really focusing on diving deep, but just up to date, getting up to date. So I'm working with MA Holly with a small team. Yeah, basically that's all about me.
Thank you Rishabh. By the way, Rishabh is helping these days us on this Dev Talks. He's actively contributing towards various activities. Thank you, Rishabh. Next, we have Sachin Jha. Hi, Sachin.
Hi, Tarun. Hi, everyone. I'm Sachin. I have a 10 years experience in SharePoint development, and I work ASP.NET and React, and a little bit knowledge about the Angular JS also. So that's why I come here to grab some new opportunity for Angular. And thank you, Tarun, for arranging this webinar. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's all from me.
sure. It's a pleasure. Thank you, Sachin. Next, we have Tripat.
Hello everyone. Myself Tripat, and I have been working in IT industry from the last 12 years. Starting my career with Classic ASP and then ASP.NET and ASP.NET Core. And currently I'm working in .NET Core and Angular. I have also worked in Angular JS as well.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Thank you, Tripat.
Thank you.
I think we'll left with last one. Someone recently joined. Ashray. Ashray, can you just give me 1 minute of introduction of yours? Ashray, am I audible to you? Okay. Okay, don't worry. Maybe there might be a network issue. So let's start with today's topic. So today's topic is Angular for beginner. So we have Prashant with us who will drive this session. And guys, if you feel any kind of confusion or any kind of questions during the meetup, just put the questions on chat window, or you can speak up by unmuting yourself so that we can handle the questions. And all the resources like GitHub, slides, and etc., and the video of this session, all will be recorded and will be given to you on the meetup page. Yeah. So with that note, first of all, I would like to thank everyone for giving us this time over weekend for Angular learning. Yeah. So we hope a great session. So now, Prashant, now I am handing over the stage to you.
Okay. So thank you, Tarun. So I hope my screen is visible to you. Is am I audible? Hello everyone. Is my screen visible to you all of? Tarun?
Prashant, I'm not able to hear you if you're speaking.
Just a minute. Just a minute. I hope now screen is visible and I'm audible to all of you.
Yes, Prashant.
Okay, so now starting with our today's session. So today agenda is our Angular for beginners. For those who don't have any experience in Angular or having just a basic knowledge of the Angular. So today what we will be covering is we will discuss about the Angular, like why it came into the existence. So a little bit introduction about it. Then we will discuss about its history, its different versions, and why we use the Angular. And then after that, I will give you the coding demo application using the HTTP services and tell you for reference for where to go next. So now let's starting with this today. So in the today roadmap, so we will be covering first Angular, then how to install it, and then some of its basic fundamentals, and then we will play with its data, that how to render the data and make use the components in it and the directives and the consume the HTTP services so that we can connect it with our backend and make our front end and show the data. So by the end of this today's webinar, you will be able to create your own application using all the reusable components, using pipes and the different directives that we will use in the today session and creating the services. So now coming to the today topic, what is Angular? So Angular is just a framework for building client applications in HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Most of you will say that in JavaScript we can also make the front end applications, but in JavaScript, when we start making the application using JavaScript and jQuery, so whenever the application code structure became so large, then it will become difficult for the developer and well as for to understand the code logic. So for that, if we use the jQuery, so in that we use the dollar and create this code like this. So to solve this problem of large code structure, Angular came into is that in this we will create a modular patterns and a prototype patterns, so that to solve the issue of this code structure, like have like a large code structure and not able to get the all in one file. So Angular, React and Vue.js came into the existence. So starting with their difference, like what's the difference between Angular, React and Vue and why these frameworks are used for the front end. So Angular was just came into the existence 2010 and was maintained by Google. And similarly, at that time in 2013, React came. The developers of Facebook started creating the React, and even the Vue.js, which is also a front end framework. It was not developed by even a Google or the Facebook, but it was developed by a Google employee, Evan, who was just working on its routing features. So that today, 2 days back, Angular 10 is now released, and for this React.js is popular in JavaScript library because in this we use the JSX in React.js, but in Angular we use the normal HTML, CSS, and the TS file. I will show you in the further. And the why we use the Angular is because Angular just is a single page application which renders quickly and efficiently, whereas in JavaScript we used to make the client call to the server and then the server respond, and then we will be able to show the data. But in Angular same thing happened, but it happens so quickly and efficiently that it just only re-render the data easily, whereas in React.js not the whole page is re-rendered, only a single component is re-rendered. And whereas in Vue.js it allows the both features of Angular and React. So basically, Angular is all-in-one framework which is built upon TypeScript, which is a superset of JavaScript. And I hope you people must be having good knowledge of JavaScript and a little bit of TypeScript. If you don't have any knowledge on TypeScript, then it's okay. We will show you. And the React is based on the React JSX application. So I have told you. And mostly the Angular is used in the single page application, whereas the React and the Vue.js is used for the multi-page applications, because whenever there is a large code structure and more modular pattern, then we will prefer the multi-page application, that is React and Vue.js. But for single page application, we prefer the Angular. And even in Angular, we can also make the multi-page applications. So now coming to the different versions of Angular and about its Yeah.
Prashant, just to pause you, just go to backslide,
Yeah.
previous slide. Yeah. So I think this is a very like hot topic these days. I would like to spend 1 minute on this slide, and I have a question here. Like, according to my experience, when we work on any JavaScript frameworks like React, Vue, Angular, Knockout, Ember, the whole purpose is to make a single page application where we are not re-rendering the routes just like we do in traditional PHP or .NET. So my question is, in the last point, when you say Angular is single page application and React and Vue are multi-page application, so how they differ, by the way?
So in the Angular, there is just a index.html file in which we uh, the thing is the app components re-render it. Okay, but in the React.js, like the Facebook, you can say there are the components like different components, and in that depends upon the requirement that we want to make it a different modular multi-page application or not.
Okay, so you mean to say like in React when we create different components and different modules, so they become pages, right?
Yes. So it all
Okay.
depends upon the requirement in the React.js, and matlab depends upon the project requirement.
Okay. Okay. That's fine for me. If anyone have any question regarding
So
this.
I would assume that
Actually,
either Angular, React, or Vue can be used as MPA, not just Spark, right?
Sorry.
Angular can be used as MPA as well.
Yes,
Okay,
Okay.
great.
but
Okay. Yeah,
mostly it
and
is
you.
preferred for single page, but we can also use the MPA in it.
Okay. Anyone else was saying? Yeah, Rishabh.
bas- basically, I'm not able to understand what is MPA, multi-page application. Uh,
Okay, just a minute, let me explain you.
yeah, please.
Like in the multi-page applications, whenever we reload the entire page, like you use the Instagram, when you scroll it, like it remains the same. You like the photos got changes and the component like button, comment button, and even the comment bar is there. So it remains the same. That is the new page is requesting the servers to display in this. Like here a component like image component and the likes component, and then you can say the comment component. So it just requests the server to get changed and get re-rendered in it.
Okay.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay, so simple question with Angular and React. So when we say Angular is preferred for SPA,
Yes.
uh, does that mean Angular is not proficient in multi-page applications, or is it just by choice? I mean, there
Uh,
should be a
it,
reason, right?
it's just by choice. It depends upon the project requirement that which we want to use.
So there is no actual limitation by Angular, right? Like it's not like something gets slower or
No,
something.
yes, it is the con you can say that because whenever the bundle size increases, so it will become
Yeah.
difficult for just like we want to reduce the bundle size in it, right? So in that
Uh,
case,
So we could always use code splitting. I get that the overall bundle size won't reduce, but browser won't have to process everything at once. So that is a good technique I used to use for handling this kind of stuff.
yes.
So isn't
Okay.
that like counter that con?
Yeah, because even in the single page, you can say like the index web when the web page renders or the index.html page renders, it initially only load the data, and then instead of the entire HTML, like you can say, after the after the initial,
Entire JavaScript. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
after the initial page load, it's only that it only data is sent back, and then you play with the data rather than sending the whole entire HTML.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
Okay. We can have this discussion maybe Rishabh offline or
sure.
after the call. Okay.
Yes. So should I continue further?
Yeah,
Yeah.
please.
From my side, yeah, you can.
Okay. So when the Angular came about, the Angular history right now. So Angular was just introduced in 2010, and in that at that time it was having the MVC structure, that is a model view controller. But after some years, the Google want to introduce some of the new features in it. So using the MVC structure and introducing the new features, it became difficult for them to reduce the size and the other thing. So they came with the new code script, the whole code about the Angular is created from scratch, and it came with the model view model form in 2016, and that was the Angular 2. And then after that they introduced some of the core features like the Angular core and the HTML proper features. So it became the Angular 3, and then after that they introduced routing in it. So it became to the Angular 3.3. So it became the confusion between the user whether it's Angular 3 or 3.3, like the major or minor patch is different. So they rather than giving it to name Angular 3, they give it to the Angular 4 and introduce the routing in it. And after that, just after 6 months, every 6 months they try to introduce some of the new features and remove the code, try to increase reduce the bundle size, like they try to introduce some of the new features in it. So in 2017 they introduce the new features, like they remove the unnecessary code and unnecessary modules that they had introduced in 2017. And after that they started working on improving the web parts, and in 2018 they introduced the Angular material and the Angular CLI. And then in 2008 they started with IVY Sport, discussing about the IVY Sport. And in 2009 the IVY Sport came into it, and the PWA applications, you can say. And recently Angular 10 is released 2 days back, and from Angular 2 it just came to known as Angular rather than the Angular JS. So this is just a history of a brief that I have introduced before in the previous slide. So now starting with our coding part. So what are the prerequisites if you want to do the coding by side with me? So you just need to have a little bit knowledge about JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and the basic TypeScript and the Node.js to be installed on your system. If you're not having, I will tell you to over here. So now coming to our coding part. Just a minute. So first we need to have a Node.js installed on our system. For Node.js, we can go to nodejs.org. From here, we can download the latest version of the Node.js. And for installing the Angular CLI, we need to run this command. So I hope there are no questions till now.
Prashant, you can share the links of this CLI and other that you are using,
Yeah, sure.
and try to be a little bit slow. I mean, pace wise.
Okay. So from here we can download our Node.js on our system, and from here we can go to install the Angular CLI on our system. So here you can see there are the commands. So let's going towards our code structure. So first, installing the Angular CLI on our system, we need to run the first when we install the Node.js, it already installed the npm package in it, and we will now use that npm package manager to install the Angular CLI. So now we will run the command Just a minute, let me give you so that it's visible. Now it's visible, I hope. Now we will run the command npm install -g, that is to install the Angular CLI globally @angular/CLI. So you can install it using the npm install, and after installing this, you can check the version of the node using the node -v to check the version of the node. So you will get the node version. So checking the Angular CLI version, you can write the command ng version, and in this you will be able to see this image like this, and it will tell you about the Angular CLI version that is installed on the system and the node version. If you are not able to see this, then there might be environment variable issue that you need to figure out. So in this way you can install the Angular CLI on your system. And now, starting with creating a first application in Angular, you can run the command ng new, that is ng means Angular CLI will start creating your application when you tell the application name. So ng new and the app name. So here let's create app to be a my app. So when you run the command ng new my app, so it will ask you about whether you want to introduce routing into it or not. So here I am using the routing as well, and then it will ask you about which style sheet you want to use, whether CSS, SCS or SAS or any other. So after that it will take about 1 to 2 minutes in creating your application, and it will install all the packages that are required in it. So let me show you in the PPT that till now what we have done, that is we have installed the Node.js, then we have installed the Angular CLI on our system using the command npm -g @angular/CLI, and we have created our first application using this command. So I hope that's clear to all. Any question till now?
Guys, any questions?
Prashant. No, I think
We are good.
Okay, cool. So now it will take the time. Let me show you one of the application that I have created. So let me show you its code structure. So in this you can say I have created a app that is the DevTalk Angular, and in this there is a code structure that it contains a source folder in it, and there are tsconfig file, tslint files as well, and in this there is the app folder which create the app module.ts, which is the main module, or you can say the root module of this application. So when we start, there is a main.ts file, which is the main file which tells you about how the application start. So in this there is a index.html. I will explain this main.ts and index.html file. Like in this index.html there is a app root module. So like you can say there is a app root tag which is getting used, and in this app root folder you can say there is just a lot of CSS they have written and the material icons they have used. So now coming to this, the app that we have created, and let's run this our first app. Just a minute, let me open it again. I think just a minute, Angular work. So what is there?
Guys, is the fonts are okay or we need to zoom it?
this is fine, Tarun.
Okay.
Okay. So now coming to the main.ts, like here, when the application start, when we run our application, I'm just looking for just a minute. Give me a minute, please. Using
I
here.
guess everyone is aware about Angular CLI. Anyone who haven't used Angular CLI?
So we have created our application, that is my app, right? And now we will go into its directory cd my app, and we will run the command ngserve -open -o, or we can also run the command ngserve only. Now it will just compile this application and will open this application on the localhost 4200. So it will take at least 1 minute for compiling when we just in the starting when we create the application. And there is, you can see a lot of material icons, SVGs they have used in this. Okay, so let it just got compiled. Till now I will tell you how its application load. So in this main.ts file, you can see there is a bootstrap module, app module. So when the application start, like when we serve this application, first main.ts file is executed and it tells that to load the app module. Like you can say this is the root module or the root module. It is a root module which contains all the information about the modules that we imported or are being used, and all the components in the declarations and the import. So these are providers. Now you can see when our first application run on the localhost 4200, it's showing this page, that is a random page in which they have written this whole CSS. So this page is shown. Okay, so now I was explaining its loading structure. So when the app module load, right, so it first goes into the bootstrap app component, right? And in the app component, you can see here there is the app root selector which tells the Angular that to load this module. And in this index.html file, like it say, yeah, I am having the information about the app root, so it loads the app root module. So I hope this loading structure is clear. Like first main.ts is executed, then it told the bootstrap module to load the app module. So it goes for the app module, and in the bootstrap there is a app component which is having a selector approot.ts, and in the index.html file, that is the main file which renders the HTML logic that we can see on the Chrome browser or any other browser. So it says that I am having the information about the approot, so it loads the approot this component here. I hope loading structure is clear.
Yeah, Prashant, where the first page is actually come after loading, where it mentioned?
Yes.
Like which is the start page you can mention?
Like this index.html page is the main page, which loads all the dependencies.
No, which component? Suppose which component will load first time when you run the application? Where it mentioned?
Like in this main.ts file, it's mentioned that first load the bootstrap module. It tells us about to load this module, app module, and app module is the root component or root module, which contains all the application, all the data that is what to declare which
Here he has mentioned that bootstrap app component.
Yes.
We can only have one component as a bootstrap component. We cannot have multiple components.
Yes.
That is where we are explaining this is the component to be loaded first.
Yes.
Hope that answers your question.
Suppose actually I want to load the customer component or maybe the product component, then I will mention here and instead of app component.
Yep.
Yeah, you can mention here, or you can even when we create our new components, in that you can use the routing in the start.
Sir, basically, we try to always load app component as the root component, and in the app components HTML, we load different components.
Yes.
If you
No. I
if you
think
want to
you are
load,
getting confused about this. It's just a component. It is not doing anything. As you can see, it is like a naming convention. You can name it anything, like a root component or like Simran Singh said, like we can have customer component. It is just like personal choice, but recommendation is app component.
yes,
Like
right, yeah.
Yes.
it's a convention, not required.
Yes.
Not required. It's a convention. You can add as many components as you like in the app component HTML.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Why would you load components in like it's a single entity? Component is a single entity. You cannot load multiple components in one component. You will have different components.
yes. So in this app component, we will be having this. We can have the more components in its HTML, and all the different components will render their things differently in the index.html file. Like first index.html AppRoot is rendered. In the AppRoot component, and that is the app component.html, we can use our different components that we want to use, and using that we can render the things. Different
You mean
components.
first of all, only the app component will file.
Yes. Like here in the starting, we have declared in the Bootstrap that to load this component. So if you want to show your different like want to show that customer page, or you want to show any banking domain page, so in the app component you can use that component module. I will show you further in the when we will create our new components, and then you can use the routing to just show your first that component into it. So just I will explain your question in like I will give you answer just in a minute or two.
I have shared a link that explains very much about the bootstrapping. App components is the one component that loads index HTML, right? You can have any. I have shared a link. You can take a look.
Yeah, just a minute. Yeah, you can go and check the link. So in this now coming to our app component, like we will create a tag, and this we will use our
Prashant,
first.
I have one question, please.
Yes, sure.
So we discussed two things. One is index.html and second is the main app component, right? So who is the main container of the application, index.html or app component?
Like
Because a component can be changed anytime in future by using the routing. So who is the main container?
like first main is the index.html, which contains the information about the HTML logic, or you can say the component logic.
So whenever component change, so it's loaded in the index.html, you means?
Yes. Like it's a single page application. Whenever the component change, it's you will see that it will not reload. It will just re-render. Like it will send the data that I want to show this component now, and it will now load that data into this component.
So in short, index.html is the main container.
Yes.
Yes. So to simplify it, because since it's a TypeScript, it will be bundled into a single file, and everything will be loaded in index.html. You can show as well if you have build running. Prashant, can you please execute the build command so we can show that it executes everything inside the index.html.
Yeah,
And
Prashant, I
bundled using Webpack. Yeah.
I suggest you that before starting the actual application structure, just start with the basic files available in the structure, like package.json and others that are very important to discuss, I think,
Yeah,
and need
sure.
more information.
Yeah.
Satnam, I got your point. I would like to give one input here. Like
Okay.
main.ts file is a file which actually shows you how to bootstrap your application, how to kickstart your application.
Right.
And app. So from there you get one module that is a base, an app root. Shant, can you show the app root?
Yeah, sure. Just a minute. Like, uh, like
in
this.
HTML. Yeah.
In
So Satnam, in AppRoot, that module will be loaded. And to answer Guneet's question, like if you want to show customer list on the home page, you use app.component, which is a base component. In this, you create a child component, which is a product list, and render here.
Okay. Okay.
So
So
Satnam, yeah, please.
I have another one question. That initially, basically, main.ts we are using to bootstrap which component loaded first, right?
yes.
Okay. So component loaded the index.html or index.html loaded the component.
Index loads the component. Index is
Component.
the mother of, well, I would say,
So
any JavaScript.
is there any configuration where it is mentioned that this is a basic main container index.html? Is there any configuration file? I'm not aware of this.
Yes, there is.
Basically, every website you see, static website or any website that has a basic page index of HTML.
Can you please open TS config file? Can you please open TS config file? It has all the
Yeah, sure.
So you can show that. You see that out directory is dist out TSC, and it has all the configurations. And there are like other files as well where you can mention, okay, do not do this file, but as convention, it's indexed with HTML, right?
So I think my understanding is every web server has the default functionality that index.html is the default
Yes, that's why it is
that's
not
why it's
mentioned
basically
anywhere, but you can mention.
Okay. So by default, basically browser will pick this index.html, right?
Yes.
Yes, that's universal truth.
Yes. This is nowhere mentioned in the Angular application that this is the main HTML file. Nowhere mentioned.
There is a rule that you can override, but it is not suggested because you will have to make other changes as well.
So flow is first, index.html is loaded, and then it depends on the index.html which component first loaded. That is mentioned inside, right? HTML.
I would really appreciate, Prashant, if you can execute build command and open that folder so we can, go ahead with that folder. Because it will help us explain what is going on with the build process.
Yes, that is more important.
TypeScript itself will not be executed in any browser as of now.
Okay. So just a minute.
npm run build, I guess it is npm run build.
Yeah, I'm trying.
So it would be helpful if we
Can you
go
please
on to some
open
package.json.
Prashant, you have to close the running process first.
Okay.
Yep. Please open that and package.json file so you can see. Oh, yeah. Yep, it is working.
Also, Prashant, can you help me open angular.json file? That would answer some questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here you would see a lot of configuration for index files, for source, for everything. There are sometimes Angular CLI file as well that specifies the index file where we want to actually put. If we want to change, I never recommend to change it, but if someone wants to tinker with it or play with it, he can change even the index file. And for everyone, a very simple, very simple thing here. So every time, the very first thing that opens up is a HTML page, every website. It's not JavaScript. Okay.
Yes.
So when we say that index is a container or the AppRoot component, it doesn't really, it isn't even a question, because at the very start, an HTML file would load. It would load the JavaScript, and then anything else will happen. So index.html will load, then it will run whatever JavaScript it has to run. So in case of Angular, it would load the first component. It could be AppRoot, it could be a different component based on our configuration. Keeping it simple, AppRoot would be loaded, and then anything as a children would load. Yeah. So it's not even a question.
Depending on the router.
Exactly. So it's not even a question if which is the container. It's always gonna be index.
So I can see here the basically mentioning of index.html as well.
Yes.
These are the configurations here that
yeah. So
I basically asked
these
the
are
question.
these are basically our source files. So you could even change it here as main.html, and you can rename that file to main.html and it would work. So that's what I'm saying. It's basically an HTML file that would load always based on the configuration.
So
Guys,
is there a,
guys,
so is
sorry, guys, just to cut down, Satnam, I just pasted a link for file structure. If we go cross discussion, people who are beginners, they'll get confused. So I'll just send you the link. You just go and explore it. If you still have questions, we
sure,
can take offline.
sure. Thank you.
Prashant, you continue, please.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, just to close before we move on from this topic, this is a good point. All the frameworks, all front-end frameworks that includes React, Vue, Angular, all work exactly the same, just like Rishabh explained. So there's just no difference at all in this structure. That's
Agreed,
thanks.
agreed, guys. So Prashant, please continue.
Yeah. Just let me kill all the terminals. Just so it's working.
Change the directory, please.
Yeah, just going.
By the way, I have my app up and running on localhost 4200 port.
Nice.
That's
Guys,
good.
by the way, I still am seeing the same problem. I can't join from the system.
So
Like
Rishabh,
what?
you almost know everything already, so there's just no point for you joining.
So my request will
I
okay.
think you need to go into the project folder
Yeah,
actually.
just going. It's
Change the folders.
Then can you please help Rishabh join, please?
I'm not sure. Rishabh, let me message you separately.
Tarun doesn't want you on this call. I'm being just honest.
That's possible.
Okay, so I'm just starting to solve the application. It will take some time. And now coming to the app component.ts. Now here we will when the application will run, we will see there is a property that is the title, and we want to now coming to our first basic fundamental, that is string interpolation. So that's string interpolation. I will explain here now. So string interpolation is you can say, let me coming to the slide. So like in the component you had seen like there is a component.ts file, there is css that is using for writing the css, and then the html file where we will write our html logic, and in this ts file we will write our business logic. Okay, so now let me explain you this Angular. This is our component structure, that is in the component there is a ts file which contains our data, html file in which we will write the html and the logic. Now coming to this, like you can see here, so now we want to render this property title on our html page. Like, so here we will use the double curly braces bracket for writing for rendering over this property. So here you will see that a title, I have written it here twice, and now it will shown here. So in this index.html file, or in you can say the app.component.html file, this page is rendered on the localhost 4200. So now let's say we want to create a new property here, like you can say name here, and you can write any name, like I can here write name like Tarun. So you want to render this name on the HTML file, so you need to use a curly braces syntax, and this property name, like this property name here is name, so we will write it here in the app.component.html file, and you can see here in the localhost 4200, now here the name is visible, like the dev talk Angular, there is Tarun, That's the name property that we have used. So I hope this stringer interpolation is clear to you. Right. Now.
Yep. Yep.
Yes. Now just coming to our second prop. Just a minute. So let's say I'm creating here now coming to our component that we want to create a new component. Like there is a lot of discussion about it, like which page to render first and all. So coming to first that thing. So for creating the new component, you need to run the command ng generate and ng generate component, and then the component name that you want to use. So here I am creating a component says users. So in this Angular CLI will create a folder users in which there will be 4 files. You can say see here a user component is created in which there is HTML file, CSS file, TS file, and this spec file. So this work is done by CLI, that it has created this user component, and it has it has declared here that we are using this user component. So if you want to create the component manually, so first you need to go here and you will create a file like you can say courses component.ts ts like, and then you have, if we create a file, then you have to here export its class, that is the courses component. And then you have to first here import its, like you have to import here the component, and in this you have to tell the selector which selector you want to use and which HTML file you want to use, and then you have to declare this file, like this component that we have created here. And then you have to declare this file into the app module.ts to tell the module that this like you have to tell this root module that we are using this, because if you not do not declare here which file and which file you are using, then it will not be able to render the courses component. You have to declare here, and even you have to declare in the declarations that I am using the courses component. So now you can see it's little bit difficult that you have to create the first component manually, and then you have to declare it in the module.ts that you want to import this, and then you have to declare in the ng module declarations. So it became like 3 process step, that first you have to import this file, then you have to declare, and you have to create it on. So to just recover from that, you just can easily say you just can easily use the Angular CLI for that. So it will easily just create this application, and then you don't need to do all these 3 steps. You just need to run the command nggc, or you can say nggc or ng generate component, like this. So I'm here creating a new component like nggc to do list, or you can run the command ng generate component users. So I hope you are clear with how to create the component. So everyone clear with this?
Yes,
Yes.
Prashant, you please complete the course. We'll take the questions at the end.
Okay,
I
sure.
mean, if anyone have question, just paste it on chat. We'll address at the end.
Okay, sure. Cool. Just a minute. Okay. Now we are done with our first basic concept, that is the string interpolation. Now here we want to use this like users component in we want to first render the user component and the courses component that we have declared. Okay, so just a minute. So for that we will go into our app.component.html file, and here we will use this selectors tag, that is to tell the app component.html to render this component, that this selector is used just as a string which tell us that which component to render. So here you can use this tag, and you can see in the app component.html file, just a minute, it's running. Yeah, just a compiler.
Yeah.
Compiler issue. Just a minute. Let me load it again.
Did you load this component in app module? So
Yeah.
app knows.
Yeah, in the app module.ts it's already declared because I have created it using a Angular CLI.
Sure.
So let's here in this we can now use our other tags as well. Let it get loaded, and now here you can see users work which come from the let me show you using the inspect. Like here you can see this user property came from this app users, that is from the app users component. Like in the there was a question regarding to use the we want to use any other component, or you just can use this in the your app component.html, that you want to use this component, and you can declare it here. Or you can also use the routing for that. I will explain you little bit about it in next go. So coming to this users component.html, so let's say here we will create our first property
Prashant, we are not able to see your code. I mean, me only or everyone else?
No, Tarun, I can see the screen.
Okay, maybe there is issue my end. Okay, please continue.
Yeah, sure. So here we will first create our using our first property, that is the string interpolation. So here we will create a property username, and we can write it here. Let me see, it's Prashant, and I want to use this property. Okay, so using the string interpolation, that is a curly braces bracket, I can render it here and let it be in our tag h1 tag, this. Okay, so I can here write a class to say anything, or I want to give it a class name or not, depends upon the person or which we want to use. Or you can say I can here declare this as a color red. So yeah, just h1, just this is a selector issue. Yeah, so here you can see h1 tag is used to this. Now coming to this our property, suppose now you want to use the event create a user button, like property binding we will use now here. So here I am creating a button like add user, and it will be having a class. So first I will be importing the bootstrap so that we can use it in for styling this. And in this style.css file, that is, we need to declare here that we want to use this. So it will be using the bootstrap sort dist.css dot slash bootstrap dot css. Let me explain you why I have using this command here. So when we install, as we have installed our this, just a minute, coming to, like, we have installed the bootstrap in our node modules. So coming to this bootstrap here, you can see there is a dist folder which in which there is a css file, and we are using this bootstrap.css for using our styling our component HTML. So here I'm using the class btn dash primary. So you will see here is a button. Now I am, like, it's visible here as it's dark blue here, so no need of that, even it's right now clickable. So I will use the HTML property disabled here, so that it's currently disabled. So here what we will do in this users.component.tss in the constructor folder, we will use a set timeout, and here we will use our ES6 syntax. In this we will just say that, okay, let this disabled to be true. Just a minute. Just a minute. Component.ts. Okay. Like, we will create here a property, add new user, and we will set it to true here in this, and this not add new user, and this component.html. So it's currently, I will find it. Just a minute, guys.
Property is equal to disabled is equal to that property that you define.
Yeah. So we are here using this property. So we will use the square bracket here, and it will show you that, like here, let's say it be a 5 millisecond gap, so that first it's disabled, and after 5 millisecond it got enabled. So this is our property binding, so that we have here used a property add new user, and in this in the starting we have declared it as a false, and so that after 5 milliseconds in this constructor we have declared this this dot add new user to be true after 5 milliseconds. So after 5 milliseconds it will re-render the DOM and then add the property to be true. So this is the property binding. So now coming to our event binding here. So in the event binding we will what we will do here, it's that just a minute, let me explain you using this. Coming to this, I think I should show you the code here, that how I am using this. Just a minute, guys. Let me open the new folder structure and let you explain you all the things in a better way rather than losing the interest of you all. Yeah.
Shan, by the way, you have all this code on GitHub, right?
Yeah.
Everyone can. Can you just share the GitHub repo link? I mean, after the talk.
Yeah, just after this discussion or after the webinar, I will share it with you. Like in the end, I will share it. Like now, coming to this, so let's explain it in a better way because I was getting just a little bit nervous about it and while explaining. So just let me explain it here in a better manner. So I hope the string interpolation is clear to all of you, right? And the property binding will be clear. So let's see. Just show you the app in a better manner. Yeah. So this is our home component. Okay. So now coming to this, like the string interpolation is clear to all of you. Now coming to the property binding and the event binding, and let me comment the code already that I have done. In this property binding, we have used here this disable, right? And in this home.component.ts, we have created set timeout. In this, we are enabling the add new user to be true after 5 milliseconds. So that
Abhishek, there is a lot of noise from your side.
so now you can see here this add user is disabled. So after 5 milliseconds, it will get enabled and it show that here it's true. So I hope property binding is clear.
Yeah, it's good for me. Anyone with a question should ask about this right now.
So now coming to our event binding. So in the event binding, we will be using our like bracket syntax. In this, there is a click function that we will use, and in that we will write the function. So here in this home.component.ts, I have written the function.
Yeah, Prashant, please stop. I have one question. In the property binding, like we have actually just declared the variable. Suppose I want to bring some property based on some like the database call or from with some function. Then I have to mention here the function name, like disable, add new, and then I mention the property, get like any value.
Yeah, because in that function you will return the property whether it's true or false or any other, depends upon the logic you want to show.
That I have to write that in the constructor, or that in the like the page load, like that one.
That's not necessary that you need to write in the constructor. That's here you can use that function directly here.
Prashant, can you please explain life cycle of this component?
Guys, just to give you quick interruption, let Prashant complete this. We'll have this time for Q&A and other doubts.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So now coming to our event binding. So here we are using the click function in the Angular. Okay, in this brackets, and here we will use our get user status function that I have written in this app home component.ts. So here what I am doing this, whenever a user clicks the get clicks the add new, so it will add it will enable the property add new user to be true, and it will show that the user creation status that I have declared to be successful. Okay, like in here, in the starting, I have created a property user creation status, and in this I have created it to be as no user created. Okay, so in the starting, as it's false, so let me enable this as well. So as I am here I will enter the name, like say I am entering the name and adding the user. So here you can see the name is Prashant. So it's a just I think a lot of code to be. So user creation status. So in the starting, as you can see, there is a no user created property that I have declared in this home component.ts file. Okay, and I am using this property here as a string interpolation. And now coming to this, so whenever I click the add user, so you can see here the status got changed, that is became the user creation successful. Just a minute, guys. Now I will explain you a two-way binding in this. Just a minute. Hello. Yeah. So now coming to the two-way binding. In the two-way binding, we need to use this ng model. Okay, so let me explain here. Here I am creating a new input field, which will be of type text. Okay, and here I am using this that is a property binding and the event binding here together, and I will using the ng model for the two-way binding. So I am here creating a property that is a username I have created. Okay, for the ng model, you need to go to the module.ts, and here you need to import this ng module here, and you have to import it in the form module, because ng module is in the form modules. If you haven't declared in here, you will get the error. Let me show you the error that you will get if you do not import this form module and directly use this. Okay. Yeah. So here you can see there will be an error. So just you need to import this form module for this ng model. Okay, and here you can use it. So in the two-way binding, you need to use this ng model, and it will be, you can say it as a banana in the box syntax, because there is this bracket syntax, and after that it will be in a square bracket. So this is also known as the banana in the box syntax or a two-way binding syntax. Okay, so this was this two-way binding. In this two-way binding, so you can see that whenever you change here any text, so whenever you change here any text, you can use the two-way binding for that, so that whenever you the DOM gets changed after every syntax or after entering any key, you can just change it. Like you can see here, whenever I'm entering the text in the bottom gets changed. So this is the two-way binding. So now coming to this routing first, because in this application, so here you want to show like you want to show the home component or user component or any to-do list or any other thing that you want to show. For that you need to create use the routing. For routing, you first need to go to the app routing module.ts. In the app routing module.ts, there is a const routes. This is an array in which you need to declare that object, and in the route there you need to declare the two properties, that is which path to use. That is the like whenever there is a in the you can say there is a in the localhost, it's whenever there you can say change a thing got changed, or you can see your URL change. So for that you need to use the routing. For here you see here I am click on the home and this URL got changed. Whenever I click on this user, URL got changed. But you can see that whenever I click this reload does like the page doesn't get reload, it just only get re-render. The URL got changed every time, but it only gets re-rendered. Okay, so for that you need to declare the path and the component. So in the path you need to declare the URL, which URL you want to use, and for that URL you need to declare the component, which component should be used there. So I am here using the home for the home component and users for the users component. And now going to this app component, let me show you this where I have used. In the app component.html file, I have used this app header and app footer. I have not used any other component here. So in this app header, going to towards the header component, in this I have used the navbar for routing. So in this I have declared a router link in which I have declared that for this home you need to show here home and redirect to home component, and for the users you need to redirect to the users component for that. So you can see here in the example that whenever I click on the home, it's on the home, and whenever you click on the user, it goes on the users component. So for example, whenever you want to show like for the localhost 4200, you just want to show your client page or any other page. So for that you can declare in the app routing module. So you can declare it in the app routing module. So for any path, like for the empty path, what do you want to declare, or for the localhost, or you can say suppose there is no path here. So for that, what you want to show, you can declare all the things here in this path, and according to that you can show which component you want to render, you can declare it. So this was the routing. Okay, so now coming towards the directives now. So coming what is directives, let me explain you. So directives is just instructions to the DOM that you want to show this data or you want to manipulate with the data on the DOM. So using our first directive, that is the ngIf and the ngFor. So now coming to this users component, where I have used this properties users and name, and in this I am using this input property which is entering the name, and here for the ngFor property, that is the ngFor is used for declaring. Suppose we are having a list of data, and the data will be a number of objects that you will be getting. So for that you need to create a variable that is let. This is the username, and this will be of user. Like here, this is the property user, which will get the object like the user list it contains. And for that I am creating a variable for which I am using its name here. So this is the ngFor, and similarly we can use the ngIf in it, like whether we want to show anything or not. So now coming to this users, you can see there is a name property, and you can see I am rendering this data from the HTML, from the HTTP, and there is a lot of data that I am getting. List of objects, you can say, array of objects in it. So there is a address, name, email ID, and name component. So for that, I'm just using, in this is my code, I'm just using here the name property for this, and for the, like, there is a array of 10 objects in which there are the property name and the many other properties. So for that we are using the ng for to declare let user of user, and in this we will be using the user dot name here. And so you can see here, you can render the list of data in this way using the ng for. And now coming towards our HTTP services, in the HTTP services, for that we need to create our service first for interacting with the HTTP. So for creating the services, so you can use the command ng generate service and the service name, which service name you want to use, or you can use a short syntax for that, that is nggs, and the service name, that is to do service I am using here, and slash I'm using it in the service folder. So in the service folder you will see there it will create two files.
Folder name should first.
Okay, sorry, this will. So you can see this, here it will create a to do service folder, and in which there it has created a service file. So let's delete it and create it again.
Prashant, just to interrupt. So guys, we already have 1.5 hour past. So do you want the coding part to be completed, or do you want to stop it and have a Q&A session, then coding you can follow the GitHub file? How do you want to proceed?
Tarun, I think it is good if Prashant explains services part, because it's very important. So
okay.
Yeah.
If he can complete in 10 minutes or 15
Yeah,
minutes.
sure, I will complete it. So now coming to the services part, so you can see using this property nggs, or you can create your service or using the command ng generate service name. So coming to this user services, so you need the HTTP client module, that is you need to import this HTTP from the angular/common/HTTP, and here I am using this base URL JSON placeholder type code. So here you can see JSON placeholder. Here you can get the list of JSON objects, and here you can use any API into it. Like for the user I am using here, for you to dos you can get the APIs or the photo albums, or you can use this data and interact with this service. So now coming to this code part, so when we have we are using the service, so first we need to declare this HTTP client module in our module folder, module.ts file, and we need to also declare it in the imports array that we want to use the HTTP client module. If we don't import it here, it will give an error to us, like there will be showing that no providers error, like this it will show. And now coming to this user service, so we will create in the constructor we will use the private HTTP client module, so for interacting with the client. And now coming to the users folder, so here I am using this like here I'm what I'm doing is I'm getting the data from this JSON placeholder type code. So for that I am here importing the user services. So that I will first import this user service here, and then I will declare it as in the constructor, so that it can directly interact with the user service rather than writing all the code of user service in this component. and just saying that go into the user service and use its code rather than writing its code structure here and again. So in this, I am using the get user function. In this, I will interact with this user service to get the user, and this get user is from the user service method. So I can write it here again, like you can able to see. So I'm using this sort user service, and in this I am using the get users. So you can see it's method of user service. Okay, so it will go to the user service. Like let me first close all the other files. So here it goes to the user files, and here what it is doing, that it's getting the saying the HTTP client to go and get this data on this base URL. This base URL I've declared here. So it will go and make a get request to this API, or you can create your own APIs or use your own APIs here. So it will hit the data, but it will till you don't subscribe it will not hit the API and get the data for that. So that we will use the subscribe function here, and it will give us the response. And I am using this response in the user property that I have declared in the here above. Like I have declared here a user property that can be of type any, like it can get data of any type, whether it's object or array or any other thing. So I am using this user in this component.html file to declare to show here username. Now similarly, coming towards our post request. So for the post request, let's say we want to add a new user into it. So let's say I am adding my name here and want to add it. So you can see here my name is added. So if you want to add any other name, like you can say Abhishek. So you can see it's got added here. So how it's getting it? Because here I'm using a input property. Okay, and in this there is a local variable name that is I have created in the input text input field, and in this user component.ts I'm using the post user. It will get the input. So whenever the user click on the add user, so you can see whenever a user click on this add user, it will use the event binding that we have discussed earlier. So it will go to the post user, and in this it will get the input that we need to show it that it's a HTML input. So we need to declare it here as a HTML input tag, and we can even get the value in the console like this. And for that we just need we will get the input property. In this we will be having a name value that is input.name. So let me share it here. Whenever I use so in the console you will be see there is an object. Okay, so here Prashant, so it's okay. So here it will, what it will do is that it in the input there is an object called name, and in this there is a property called value. So we have to access that value using this input dot value as an object, and it will we will use the stringify to send this name in the user, and we will send again use the user service, and we will use the post users method in the service that we have used, and here we will use the observable to pass the data, and here we will use this two methods in the post, that is the base URL and the data that we want to use. Here I'm using the one data. You can use depending on the requirement, like you have a many other input field. So for that you can pass here the object. Okay, so for that it will subscribe, and now the response is here. So now the response is here, and we want to show it in the field user field. So for that we need to here, that is a user value property that we have created. So we need to use its ID and the response that we have got. So we have to use the response.id to be equals to the user value, that the value we will get. And in this, like the user property that we have declared here, in this we are using this splice method to change the property in the user, and in this we are using the starting index, end index, and property that we want to add in our user array, or you can say array of objects that we are getting. So in this way it will add the user Abhishek, and it will say the ID is this, and you can see here's this. So this is the post request. Now coming towards the delete request first. So whenever we use the delete request, so it will just directly delete it. As you can see here, it's getting deleted. So for that, we need to use the same in the HTML. Like you can see here, I'm created a button that is delete user, and it's using the event binding. In this component .ts, it goes to the delete user, and here we are using the delete user. So it get the user ID, which ID to delete, and in this delete user, you can see we are getting the ID, and we are giving the base URL and the ID that which property or the which corresponding array or the ID or the object that we want to delete. So we can delete it using the base URL, plus we need to pass the ID that we are receiving from the HTML. And after receiving this, we need to just use the supplied here so that we can change it in our property, that is the user that we are using to display the data, so that it's rendered on the HTML. Okay, so now coming towards the update request. So here again using
So
this.
Prashant, like you have explained the get and delete.
Yeah.
So I think all other requests are same. Means you have to write functions like this.
Yes, we need to write the function, and then we need to subscribe them, and
I think that's fine for these services. Like you have explained one function, others can create accordingly.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else left in terms of coding?
No, that's it.
Okay. So I think we should wrap up coding because already 1.5 hours passed.
Yes.
And if you have anything else in your slide, please complete, and then we'll open for Q&A.
So no, that's like where to get the go to the next. For that, you can go to the angular.io for more information on the Angular. For any other questions or the queries, for here you can go to the docs folder, and here you even for getting the started, you can go and create your tools of Hero. In this, they have declared how to create the application and how to use HTTP services and all. So there you can get it, or you can go to our DevTalks page. Like let me share you the link for that. Just a minute. So on this page, I am sharing this in our a chat window. Like you can go to our DevTalks YouTube channel, you will get the video here, or you can also go to this channel, that is the Angular 9 Let's Learn channel. So here you can go and subscribe both of this channel, and here you will also get the tour of heroes that is created. So you can see here in this there are all the declared. So hello everyone, now getting started with the Angular. So need to have the basic knowledge of some of the languages.
Also share the GitHub repo on this code. Audience can refer, and also the official Angular documentation and official Angular tutorial.
Yeah, sure. Just give me 2 minutes till now. Then you can ask the question, and I will just share the GitHub link with you all. Just give me 2 minutes, and you can ask any question if you are having.
Okay, guys, so from the coding and PPT point of view, Prashant has completed. Now, if you have any questions or any doubts or any help you need regarding Angular getting started and other stuff, now it's open.
Prashant, I have one question.
Yeah.
So I see you used a JSON placeholder type code for
Yes.
services. So can we update and delete the record from that site?
Yes.
My question is, how, is this only for getting, or we can delete the record?
Even we can also delete the request. So I have here used this user dot delete user. So here you can see. Let me show you. Like I think it's running already. Okay. So here this is the data that I am getting from the API. Okay. So
Okay.
now you can even delete this request, and you can say the data is getting deleted here.
This is deleting from server, or you create your own
Like
API
no
mock backend?
like this depends. Like here we can go to the JSON placeholder. Okay, and we are getting the data, and we are storing that data in our there is a property that is users property. Okay, here. So I am just deleting it from the users. Like I am sending the request, it give me a 200 response that it is deleted, and for that I need to update it in the front end. So if you say if you are using your own API, and in that you can also delete the data from the server.
Okay. So right now the data is not deleting from server. We just removing, slicing the array.
Like
It's a placeholder, or mock API.
it's a mock
So
API. Yes.
we are not testing with real API, but yes, you can delete from JSON holder is not something related to Angular at all.
Okay. Okay. Fine. I
It's a
got
mock
it.
API.
Okay.
Prashant, I have shared the link of JSON placeholder official documentation. You can go through, they provide. And also, I would encourage to use Mockable and Mocky. There are two other services on which you can replicate you can mock the services.
So I think these are the public endpoints that we can use in any application, right, for testing.
Yes.
Correct.
Thank you, Prashant. Thank you.
Yeah, so I have shared this GitHub link as well in this our chat.
So Prashant, I have one question related to the service.
Yes.
So is there any other better way or professional way to interact with the response coming from the basically a server? How to map with the form actually? Because when we get the response from the server, it may have a different structure of JSON, but we needed a small part of that JSON and want to map with the forms. Then what is the best way?
Yeah, there can be like data can be in any form. For that, you can use this response, just the example that I have showed here, or you can depends upon your requirement that you want to using the map, or you want to use any other way to use it. So here I have created a like I will show you one of my GitHub link that
Okay.
I created in COVID application. Let me run that application and show you. Just a minute. I have to.
Satnam said uses TypeScript, so you can create models and interfaces. Like you are going to be very much aware that what kind of data you will get from the API, right? So you can map accordingly with the help of interfaces and models. So we'll give type to the response. Okay, this type of response I'm going to get. So it will help you.
So I think this is a professional way, because I'm a Java developer, so I'm not much aware about the Angular. So, but I feel that there must be some specific.
Yes, interfaces. You can define interfaces.
You can relate it with JavaScript. Java interfaces. Just create an interface. For example, a user email ID, phone number, and password.
Yes.
And whenever you get the data from the backend, only the data which is passing through interface that will come to component.
So that interface can be used as generic, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you can
Yes.
use.
Oh, great.
Yes, like you can use the interfaces, or like here I'm just using I'm getting the object response, so I'm using I need only one property, so I'm using this JavaScript to use this. Like I am here in the state.
So I think my first question is clear, that how to handle the response coming from the server, and second question is how to handle the form values. Like I have a form having 10 fields, then how to map them?
Like
In
yes,
the best way.
Yes, like for the form, I have not discussed here, but for the form, there is a property like ng submit, and there is a variable, like we can declare the variable in the form in which it contains all the properties into it, and we can play with that property because in that
So
property it will.
can we map that form with the interface? Like
Yes,
like
value.
we discussed that we are mapping the response coming from the server. Similarly, can we map the form data with the interface?
Yes, we can. If you like when Prashant was demoing, he created a variable hash name, right?
Yeah.
Similar way, we will have we can give a name to the form like hash form, and we pass that form into submit event, so it will give us form dot values. Form dot values will be an object, which will consist all the like your form input values. For more, you can take a look on the forms in
Yes,
Angular.
yeah, you can go here
Now
and
I just shared the link, and Bishop also shared the same link. There are two type of forms: reactive and template driven. You can
yeah,
go through the documentation. It's very easy.
so you can
And
go
So,
I
ahead.
just want, I
so
just want to
somewhere,
add here one.
somewhere
Sorry.
I read about the form builder as well. So, is there anything of related to form builders? Like,
Yeah, like the form builder is used in the reactive forms. Uh,
okay,
yeah,
so can be used in Angular as well, right?
sorry, can
Yes.
you please repeat?
So, form builder can be used in an Angular application, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Angular actually
And
does provide its own form builder, so you can use it.
So you
And
can go to
I
the
just want
form
to add
section in the
one small thing here. One small thing here. Some like this is like the Angular, React, and Vue. These are like completely front end frameworks. So they will have their own representation of what we call models and views and controllers. And
Yeah.
similarly for Java or any other kind of background like Java, PHP, Python, Node, anything, they will have their own version of that setup that is their version of model view controller. Uh, we cannot have directly a single point of single code base which can map that front end thing to back end thing. So this is where things like Postman or other kind of validation or API testing kind of things they come into picture where they really help in making sure that what front end is sending, front end as in like Angular project is sending to server, which is the Java based server potentially, it is having those consistency in the format. And similarly, whatever the server is sending to the front end, that is also consistent along with that. So these are like very so there has to be manual intervention using either manually or tools like Postman or anything like that. But there cannot be something which is automatically handling both of the things.
Okay. Thanks.
Guys, any other question? Like Guneet was having question during the call. I interrupted you guys over there. Now you can ask the
So
questions.
another question I have another question. So in the app module.ts, there are two basically arrays. One is declaration and second is import. So what is the difference between declaration and import modules?
Okay.
Prashant.
App module.ts. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So we have imports, providers, and declarations. So can you brief these three: declaration,
Yeah.
import, and providers?
Like in the declarations, we need to declare that which component that we are using in it, and in the import that we declared which modules like the HTTP client modules, form modules, or the routing modules that are predefined in this Angular. That we
Okay. So in short, we can say declaration is our components and imports are that we are using third-party modules, right?
No,
yes.
we can have
So
our modules as well in import.
yeah, even we can create our own modules in it.
Yeah.
So we can import it here. And for in the providers, we declare the services.
So what is the difference between component and module then?
So component is like a single component, and module can contain its own providers, multiple components, and other services.
And
It's just
basically
like a
same
complete
set
API,
of
you can say.
yeah. So for how you can use it. So for example, if you want to create a third party library for we have here a first party library is like for modules. So it's not like it's just a module file. The module file means it has its own components, it has its own services, or it can have its own services and all that stuff. And we don't have to import or declare everything. So that's why we just use a single module import, and that under the hood handles all the different declarations and providers imports individually.
So it's a single place that handle whole the project, right?
Yeah, a set of project, correct.
And just to add to this, we just take modules and components and entities and things and everything, which is having so much common thing, like out of the context of Angular. Like in Angular, we might be calling component and module something different. So, React or Vue may have these things and handle in a different way. Backend like Node, PHP, Python, Java, they may call components and module something else. So just pick them as like, okay, there is something that does something. It could be a collection of something, but it really doesn't matter a lot from an overall perspective. If you're thinking from a different if you're like experimenting with a lot of languages, because it might not inherently connect with the language that you are proficient in or you have more experience with, so it might really confuse you. So consider whenever you hear things like that, consider them something which is doing something, and that's it.
Great.
Okay. So does that answer question, Satnam?
Yes.
Probably not.
No, basically, what I'm feeling that I'm having a good experience in backend. So nowadays, front end is similar to the backend. There is a different way of implementation, but concepts are same.
I couldn't agree more to Satnam. That is the perfect explanation anyone has ever said. So what front end is, the front end frameworks, if you like explore them, you will find like I would say more than 80 to 90% similarity in any of the backend framework with a front end framework. The difference is just an understanding and implementation of the functionality, and the core concept still stays same.
Yes.
So Abhishek, you were asking Prashant to explain the life cycle of hooks. Do you want him to explain?
It's nice to have if he can. Yeah.
Prashant, can you quickly explain in 1 minute, 2 minutes, the life cycle of?
Yeah, sure. Just a minute.
And your time starts now.
Yeah. So let's get there. So in this life cycle, you can say there are the first is the ng on init. So whenever
So first, can you explain what does life cycle mean here? Maybe for the newbies.
so for the life cycle, you can say it's the process, like whenever the application loads and we want to use the components into it, how it what it will be the sequence. And for example, if we want to load any component first or any other property that we want to render it before the components get loaded or we get the view on the HTML file or like on the Chrome page. For that, we can use the life cycle hooks. I hope it's clear.
I just want to correlate this with other front-end framework. Like Vue is having some life cycle setup in which there are some moments in the setup where we can hook up certain code, like when something is mounted or created or destroyed or something like that. So what are those? So do you have any visual presentation of such a life cycle here?
So right now I'm not having any that presentation because I was thinking to show it in the another presentation or in our next meetup.
Oh, great, thanks.
No,
No
no,
issues.
no,
I just want to ask.
Sorry.
I mean, this is fine. I just wanted to ask if we have. That's fine. Perfect.
Right now we are not having it. We will.
Even down it is here. Like it's not visual presentation, but it has all the information that how in which order it goes.
Yeah. So here you can see that first is the ng on init component. Ng on init, so that whenever we want to show it before this, like whenever the components load and we want to load it first for that. So in that case, we can use this. Let me here in this users.component.ts. So here I am getting this data, like this first API call that I am using. So I'm using it in the ng on init lifecycle, so that it just before loading the data or showing the data, it just goes make the request to the API, get the data, and then render the HTML page. Okay, just a minute. Just a second, please. Okay. Now coming towards this life cycle sequence. So you can say there is the ng on change first. So its the purpose is to set or reset the data bound. Okay. So after that, it will go to the ng on init. It will initialize the directory or the components, and then there is the ng do check, which will detect or act upon the changes that whenever there is a change in the user properties, or whenever we do the change in the Chrome page or the HTML sort of thing. So you in that you can go to use the ng do check, so that whenever there is a change in the property, it just re-render or it, and you can also use the ng after content in it, so that it's respond after the Angular object's external content. So Tarun, can you explain it more briefly or more in a better way?
Which one?
Like all these lifecycle looks.
I think we are only left with 10 minutes. Okay, I'll quickly explain with ng on change will basically a hook a portion of code which will give you add your code whenever anything change in it. Change detection is a algorithm which Angular used. You can have a look at change detection. Like whenever Angular does something, it re-render all the components, and here you can play with the code. Let's say any button click or any. ng on init is a place which is initialization of a component after constructor. This is a place on which you can load user data on give API calls. ng do check, it's basically detect and act upon changes Angular. I mean, it's similar of ng change, but it's called immediately after ng on changes. And then we have after content init, it respond after external content that loads into the Angular content. And similarly, we have after content check, it respond to Angular whenever content projected into the component. After view init, it's similar. I mean, the definitions are here. You can go through it. Like after view init, like it respond when Angular initialize the components view and its child view. Means with both when the parent and its child views are completed, you can hook in your code. Then we have after view checked, it respond after Angular check the component view and child view, or I would say it view the content. It basically view the content and the director. Similarly, ng on destroy is a place where you can save memory leakage, like JavaScript has problem of memory leakage where you have declared variable are left off. They might be taking memory at the background, or you are using RxJS where you have multiple Ajax call, but you forgot to destroy that. That also could lead to memory leakage. People from PHP background, they can define it as like when we open a SQL connection and when we want to close it, we can use it in this format. Similarly, in Angular, if you have declared something that you want to use specifically for the component, you need to destroy it here.
So in short, hooks like listener and callbacks?
Similar, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, but there is just one difference, which is they act on different points of a render cycle. So I actually have an image open. Can you open an image sent in chat, Prashant?
One more point, Satnam, since you are from Java, have you used applets?
Yes.
Applet have its own life cycle. Similarly, Angular has its own life cycle.
Yeah, I got the point. Again, the basically the concept is same, implementation is different. The uses
exactly.
are different.
You imagine it as a Java applet. That's it.
Yes.
So this image is basically a list of what the circle is. So it's pretty self-explanatory, and you can just have a look at this one.
Yeah, you'll find
Because
plenty of resources like these.
Yeah, Tarun has explained it very well. Just a visual front.
So in short, these are the basically events that are triggered automatically by the application on different phases of the application.
Yeah, it's not at application level, it's at component level.
Component level.
Yes, component level.
Every component has its own life cycle.
Guneet, you were having questions during the talk. I interrupted you over there. Do you have any more questions? Guneet?
Yeah, Tarun, whatever actually command the Prashant has run, that is already in the GitHub, or we have to go for the Angular IO?
No, I will share it in the
Prashant,
GitHub
can
link.
you
Yeah.
answer the question?
Yeah, I will share it in the GitHub link. Just give me a minute. I
So
will
you
have,
can check Angular CLI. Let me send you the link. Just give me a second.
yeah, you can
Yeah,
also,
these commands will exist in the project, but you just have to know what to run.
Yeah,
You can Angular.
Angular
like,
CLI is a place where you can find this command. Yeah, Abhishek, are you sending the link?
Yes, yes. Just give me a second. It's you can once Angular CLI is installed, you can type ng space hyphen hyphen help. It'll give you all the or just help. Yeah,
yeah, even
it
I'm
will give
also
you all the
update.
commands.
Yeah, I will also
Yes,
update it
it's
in
It
the README file.
can generate anything like component models, guards, services, anything.
Prashant, I have one question.
Yeah.
Prashant, you are on mute if you are speaking.
Sorry.
Yes, please ask Guneet.
Hello.
Yes, Satnam, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
Satnam, go ahead.
So Prashant, is there any project on GitHub that is having a professional implementation of any project, like the actual way of we are using for clients, like interfaces I discussed, and other, there are a lot of other things that are not for beginners, I know. But
Yes.
is there any project having a good implementation?
I'll put it on GitHub for you. I do as of now. I'm like there are lots of projects, but if you want a quick get started, I'll put it up for you. But I'll let you know once it is up. But I may not be able to put it on by today or tomorrow.
But
I'll let you know. Yeah.
but my
So
suggestion
basically,
is go
okay.
for angular.io tutorial. I just pasted the link. They are building a small application Angular Tour of Heroes. Like I have
Okay.
been working for 4 years. I haven't found any good documentation apart from this.
Yeah.
Maybe there might be others available, but I recommend this one.
So
Yep.
actually, when we are working on a live application, so there are a lot of scenarios that basically we are not covering in the tutorials and articles. So that's why I'm asking.
I just share one link. You can follow that the good practices and architecture of Angular.
Yeah, in short,
So
we can say good practices is the right word.
yeah, I just share a link. You can follow from here.
Thank you so much.
Satnam, one more suggestion here is if you like before Angular, just get into a touch of TypeScript a little bit. That will
Hmm.
clear more concepts than Angular can because Angular is based on TypeScript.
Okay, okay,
So as a language, that would help you much more.
okay. So I worked so far in Angular. Basically, I started 2 or 3 months back and started a one project. I think I'm comfortable to doing the things because TS TypeScript is similar to JavaScript as well as with the Java. So concepts are very similar. Just
Exactly.
the
So
syntax is different, nothing else.
yep. So interfaces, enums are TypeScript concepts, and you are pretty much aware of them because of the Java. But just get familiar with the, I guess, syntax
Mhm.
a bit better because these are not concepts from TypeScript. Simply put, interfaces, mapping, and all these are concepts from TypeScript or the language itself, not JavaScript specifically, not Angular specifically.
Sure.
Guys, just an update. We are having our next meetup on Terraform. I'm just pasting the link of that event. You can just register for the event and you'll get updates. Okay, we already have 2 hours. We started at 11. It's 1 p.m. I think we should wrap up until and unless if anyone have any questions to discuss.
So I have updated the commands on README file, and you can go to the same thing, same project, and get it from the README file.
Okay, so thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Prashant, and everyone for joining. It was a very good and interactive session.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can connect offline if anything you want to know more about or learn, or do you have any suggestion regarding to our group, or if you want to give any talk, you are most welcome, and everyone is welcome. This community is for everyone. Like anyone can share
So, Tank,
whatsoever
is
they
there
say.
any specific communication way that we can interact with, like any group,
We
any
use
WhatsApp
we
group,
use
any Skype group, or any Slack, anything else?
we have WhatsApp group. Just message me your number. I'll add you. Or yeah, you just
Please share your number
you can paste it.
in the chat
Yeah,
box.
I'm just pasting the group chat invite. Just a minute.
Okay.
I'm just pasting the group invite. You can join.
And even you if you want to learn more about the Angular, you can go to the angular.io, or you can use the link that Abhishek have shared. That is a John
Sure.
Hub.
So here is the link to join our WhatsApp group. Just paste it. Whosoever haven't joined the WhatsApp group, just click on this. You'll be able to. Guys, all the links will be deactivated after we disconnect the call. So I would highly encourage to copy paste these links.
Sure.
And most probably, please subscribe the channel. That the link we have shared about our Dev Talks channel on YouTube. So here you will get all the details and this video discussion and all the things. Like after every session recording, you can get it here. So please subscribe our channel as well.
Okay, with that note, I would again thanks everyone for joining and see you next time.
Thank you so much,
Thank you, Prashant, for
Arun and
Thank you.
Prashant.
Thank you, everyone.
It's a great initiative for beginners and professionals as well. I'm very happy to join this meeting. Thank you so much.
You are always welcome.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, guys.